dressed in blue. He's taking orders from a bigger crook than you. Hey, Mr. Officer, run and hide, will remember. One day soon you will try for all your crimes. When it's your own life, it's on the line, you'll be smiling there. We'll run and hide. Oh yeah, the truth will set you free. Will still freak you out. Maybe I've been finding it in words unwritten down. All we need now is all those who will come alive. And the light shines so bright, all them tearing down. You can't rest in an idea whose time has come. Power of love, all that comes to love I've found. When the world is starting you, love and kindness will get stronger by the hour, and then we're coming after you. When the power of love, all that comes to love I've found, maybe then the world can start anew. Love and kindness will get stronger by the hour, and then we're coming after you. And nothing but the stars above, they make me see where I've been before. Always hold the treasure that I see. Don't think about the harvest, just taste by what you sow. Shine this light upon your face everywhere you go. Active kindness counts, it don't matter how small. Yes, I know above all else, love conquers all. And then we're coming, you better start running. Oh yeah, we're coming after you.
It's not about me, it's about the freedom we're all losing and continue to lose. If we don't stand up and stand together,
Hold order up your ass. You can stick your world order up your ass. You can stick your world order where the sun don't shine but water. Stick your world order up your ass. I sing it way out at 99%. Sing it way out at 99%. Sing it way out at 90. Together we are mighty. Way out at 99%. The Queen will be arrested in a dressing gown. Queen will be arrested in a dressing gown. Queen will be arrested in a. She is such a sinner. Stick arrested in a dressing gown. Stick your coronavirus up your arm. You can stick your coronavirus up your arm. You can stick your coronavirus. They'll do unproven liars. Stick your coronavirus up your arm. I sing it way out at 99%. Sing it way out at 99%. Sing it way out at 90. Together we are mighty. Way out at 99%. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails are all gone. There'll be blue skies when the chemtrails and their evil plan fails. Blue skies
vaccine up your ass. You can stick Bill Gates, push vaccine up your ass. You can stick Bill Gates, push vaccine, that's going to cause all the disease. Stick Bill Gates, push vaccine up your ass. Stick it, we are the 99%. Stick it, we are the 99%. Stick it, we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. You can stick your cracking drill in your ass. You can stick your pointing vaccines up your ass. You can stick your TV programs. We ain't got no scopes. Stick your Georgia guys notes up your ass. Stick it, we are the 99%. Yes, we are the 99%. Come on, louder. Stick it, we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human than a slave. Oh, I'd rather be a human. Don't you know that you can rather be a human than a slave? We are the 99%. Sing it, we are the 99%. Sing it, we are the 90. Together we are mighty. We are the 99%. Stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order up your ass. You can stick your new world order. Let's see your shining order. Stick your new world order up your ass. Thank you.
Scare, something that represents an agenda to make people frightened to go out, frightened to socialise, frightened to live a normal life, because what they really want to do is bring in what they're saying is a new normal, and it's all about an economic reset. If you think it's about public health, then you need to do more research. If you look around you, somebody came up to me about 10 minutes ago and said, this is what freedom looks like. Freedom is standing around with friends, listening to people singing and talking, hopefully common sense, and not wearing a mask and not social distancing. Because those things are what we call government guidelines. You can consent to them and act upon them, or you can decide that you're going to follow your own common sense and your own humanity and ignore them. Now that will come with consequences, and if you want to know how to deal with the consequences, you need to go to a talk of the kind that I do. The next one is in Hardwick on Thursday. ARMR Polygon Street, Thursday 6 o'clock. So we're here today because we're shifting the energy. We've spent all the summer moaning and groaning about our so-called loss of rights and privileges. It was a psychological operation. My experience of lockdown was unique to me. My life did not change at all during lockdown. And not at all. Now, to be fair, there were places I couldn't go to because they were shut. Now, even I can't get into a place that's closed. I did try one or two times, but when I saw the police going, I thought, no, that's enough now. So it was an economic shutdown. And it was only an economic shutdown because business owners decided that they were more frightened of opening than closing. They made a business decision. And in my talks we'll discuss about what common sense means for business people. But as long as you understand that at the end of the day, and at the beginning of the day, whatever you decide to do is your decision. Nobody decides for you. It can get complicated when you're surrounded by family or friends that have bought into the mainstream narrative, and they're ready to pounce on you and call you all kinds of names. Don't let that worry you. They're going through a tough time themselves, and they're trying to release that frustration on you. We're here to demonstrate to all the people out there that call us COVIDiots that in fact they may be looking in a mirror. Now, I'm not here to name call, because that's how you alienate people. We want them to see what we see. At the moment, they can't see what we see because their minds have been captured That's the technical term. People's minds have been captured. And I'm not going to go into how that happens, but basically, if you add the schooling system, to the media, to peer group pressure, to fear, to ignorance, to all kinds of things, poor nutrition, going with the flow, wanting an easy life, being too lazy to think for yourself. It's a whole, I'll go into a bit more detail in my talk, into the actual formal talk. But that's basically what's going on. The difference between them and us is we've taken more time and trouble to do our research. I'll be honest with you, first week I didn't know what was going on back in March. And I would get on a metro and use my elbows to press the button and breathe in if somebody walked past me. I didn't know, I knew nothing. But I just did my research and I found out that it was all a load of baloney. And then I just breathed a sigh of relief and got on with my life. But for some reason, there's a few million out there that haven't done the research. So one of our number today was contacted by a family member who lives in London, and they said, no, you can't come to visit us because you're coming from a high-risk area. High risk of what? High risk of what? The government have been repeatedly asked to prove that there is a virus, and they have failed, they've done nothing, they've sat on that. So legally speaking, there is no legal proof of a virus. Medically speaking, there's no proof. There's doctors for truth, there's lawyers for truth. Do your research, they're out there. Yeah, the Great Barrington, what's it called? Barrington Declaration. That have declared, not just the Great Barrington one, but there's doctors for truth that are declaring that the so-called pandemic was not even worse than the seasonal flu. It was nothing. The biggest problem that we face at the moment is a pandemic of suicide, depression and despair. If you go on the UK column on Friday, I was watching and they suggested that the suicide rate has gone up from a seasonal median of about 20 to 30 per day to about 200 right now. That is the pandemic. It's a pandemic of fear, ignorance, despair and suicide. That is what's going on. So suicide is now killing more healthy people arguably than anything. So we're here to reassure you and each other that the common sense is something that we've inherited from way back when. We've got it, don't know how we've got it, but we've got it. Common sense has been lost to a lot of people and they're just following a script. Okay, if you've lost the plot, then all you can do is follow a script. That's all you can do. Why would you impede your own airflow? Does that make any sense to anyone here? Why would you impede your own airflow? Which lowers your immune system, makes you more vulnerable to disease, and you could then become one of their statistics, especially if you have comorbidities, which means some other major health problem, or especially if you're over 80. The death rate amongst the under 20s is virtually, across the globe, zero. Zero. If you're under 20 and you're wearing a mask, then you're not aware of the basic fact that no one under 20 has died unless they were dying anyway, or there's always one or two across the globe that will just die suddenly. That's just called life. Death is part of life. But what they're trying to tell us is that we should be afraid of life, afraid of each other, afraid of ourselves. That is a very cruel psychological operation. Do not fall for it. When you wake up in the morning, you need to take a deep breath and be excited about the day ahead. If the day ahead is depressing and fills you with anxiety, go back to bed and try again the next day. If your life isn't being lived in excitement and joy and peace and creativity and fun, that's not a life. But you can have that back. You can have that back, but you have to know that it's yours to claim back. Don't let anyone interfere with that, because you're then playing their game against yourself. Why would you do that? If you are not the master of your own life, you are not leading a life. that belongs to you. You're leading a life that belongs to someone else. Start asking pertinent questions. Why am I letting someone or something else dictate how I live my life? All I can do is suggest that you ask yourself that question. Okay? And all I can do apart from that is say that once you take back control of your life, the life becomes amazing again. It's got very tainted.
He is right.
One little quick tip is turn off the television and radio. Turn that off.
Oh my god, it's one of my favourite tunes. I used to sing this one.
Without that mess, please, oh please, won't you get that vaccine? It's full of shit, it's like the meteorites. Said the last has got something toxified. Open your eyes so you can be
Don't just sit in silence just because you are afraid of what others may think. It takes courage to follow your heart in a world that tells you to fall in line and to silence yourself if you have views that oppose those of the mainstream. Speak your truth, follow your heart, be your own guru.
That's particularly relevant, but I think when father and son get together to create wonderful truth and music, I think that's quite a significant event. You
I will not comply, and I will never, ever consent.
We're normal people like you out here on the street, sick and tired of being told what to do. And we want you to join us and stand up and say no more to this tyranny. No more to the government. I mean, look at Boris Johnson. For God's sake, what a fool. People following him. He's an idiot. He's a puppet. He's a criminal. Okay, and everyone who thinks Bill Gates is a humanitarian. He's a he is using his money to control everybody. He knew Jeffrey Epstein personally.
As of 19th of March 2020, COVID-19 is no longer considered to be a highly infectious disease in the UK. This information is from the gov.uk website. There is no scientific evidence that social distancing is effective at reducing transmission. Coronavirus recovery. Early estimates predict that the overall COVID-19 recovery rate is 99.75%. This information is from the webmd.com, 7th of August 2020. The average age of a person to die from COVID is 81 years of age. The death rates from COVID-19 are lower than the flu deaths in the previous years. The pandemic has caused an excess of 75,600 deaths and counting, largely due to suicide.
If Matt Hancock wants to decide who comes into my house, he can start paying my mortgage, he can start paying my council tax. I will be having people round my home as and when I please, and I don't care what Matt Hancock thinks.
Everyone come and join us for our freedom, for our rights, for our sovereignty.
Singing we are the 99%.
The vaccine which will change your DNA forever will make you transhuman. Then the government has got a pattern on you, they can kill you. At the moment you're free sovereign, please don't let them take it away from you. You are free sovereign. We have got a right to stand in this square. We've got a right to protest when we think our government's tyrannical. We have got a common law, unalienable human right to protest. As long as we're peaceful. Passion and peaceful. You can have passion and you can be peaceful at the same time. Because we want people to join us. Unity. We want solutions. We're working on solutions. Take back your sovereignty. We have the Magna Carta. We have a clause, Article 61. I've got the evidence of high treason committed by the British government since 1972. The evidence is there. Every one of you have got the power to put the police on notice, the courts on notice. Take back your power. You've all got the power. You've all got the ability. Every single one of you individually can make a difference. You really can. And just by walking into a shop without a mask and saying no, you're making a difference. You're having an effect. Because you can inspire other people to do the same. I do not want to spend another day of looking at people in masks. It's soul destroying. I don't want to take my kids out. They've not gone to school because they're scared of masks. They don't want to go to school. I'm not let up. And the bubbles. It's weird. They don't understand.
It is weird. It's very weird.
Children learn by non-verbal communication. They learn by interaction. They learn by being human, hugging, associating with their friends. The children. So just stop it with your mask. Please.
Nothing they say is good to say. It's law. They've not sat in Parliament. It hasn't gone through from the House of Commons to the House of Lords and then to the Queen. It is law. It's advice because we're under a pandemic. It lasts for 2 years and it gets reviewed every 6 months. At the end of September, it got reviewed. September 26th, I think it was. We all petitioned our MPs and whatever, and half the MPs turned up down in London, 350 odd of them, to vote to continue. Out of them, about 20 odd of them voted to stop all the lockdown. The MPs that didn't turn up to London had a derelict of duty or whatever because they didn't go to London to represent their constituency. The legal team who are aware of what's going on, legally now know what's going on in the hospitals, what's been going on behind the scenes. They came on board. They have sent a letter dated the 3rd of October to all the MPs, all 650 odd of them. They've all been given that letter, told that they are responsible for their constituencies. If they don't vote, then that's a derelict of duty or whatever. And if they do vote, they are responsible for people's lives, jobs, health, well-being, mental health, everything. What I'm going to say to you now is, if you go to the doctor, every single thing you do, the doctor, the hospital, everything you do, take everybody's name, details, rank, officer, job, whatever. Note everything down because when this pandemic label is lifted, on mental health or even killed a relative in hospital. March and April, unfortunately, if they got labelled with COVID on their death certificate in March and April, not a lot can be done about that because legally we all thought there was a killer virus out there. At the end of April it was proved that it wasn't COVID that was killing the majority of people, and actually the ventilators killed more people than anything else because they panicked with ventilators as soon as somebody came into hospital. They panicked and those ventilators killed people unnecessarily. At the end of April, doctors were recognising the viruses that were killing people, they were recognising that people were dying of heart attacks, cancer and various other things. The legal came on board. The legal came on board basically ready to prosecute. The legal cannot prosecute until we've had the pandemic label lifted off us. But the legal are preparing everything. So if you watch Judge Judy on the television, just think about Judge Judy. She always says, what have you got? What names and addresses have you got? What written confirmation have you got? I went into hospital last week and I was in A&E in Salford Royal. I made sure I came out with every doctor and nurse that basically came in the room, details. I made sure I had my papers for me, just in case. I'm covering my back, basically. And this is what you've all got to think like. I know it sounds horrible, but you've got to mistrust everybody. You've got to make sure you've got everything back in. That letter went to the MPs on the 3rd of October. From now on, the MPs now are responsible for us. And it's beginning to work. It was only just here, I think, when Andy Burnham was standing up alongside two others and a few others, and he was saying that more people, that was fact. I don't care about whether it's a good guy or a bad guy. He was stating the obvious. More people are dying from suicide, mental health, loss of jobs, loss of incomes, loss of houses, right? And neglect. And I would say it's neglect, murder by the health service because they're not been open for business. Turned you away. For months and months it turned you away. Masks are not law. They are not law. It's a part of the Coronavirus Act. It's what if the government said pink Wellingtons tomorrow, all the zombies will be putting the pink Wellingtons on. They won't even question why they're wearing Wellingtons. Not question why they're wearing masks. Now I'm going to give you another piece of legal, and if you tell nothing else to people, do this. Tell people the mask, if they've got to wear a mask, the mask they must wear is the blue mask. Exactly the same that they wear in the hospital. Now this is some legal information coming through. Boris Johnson has not said what mask is 100% safe, because no masks are 100% safe. But he says the NHS are saving lives and they're at the centre of this virus. And he obviously has to make sure that they have the best equipment available. So they've got blue masks. If you're wearing the same as the NHS, you can make a claim later on that your health is impaired by wearing a mask. So if you do nothing else, tell people that, wear a blue mask or no mask. Because if you decide to make your own silly mask, if I decide I like my dress and I'm going to make a lovely pretty mask out of my dress, I take 100% responsibility for my health. Now think of the wording, listen to it on the radio, on the television. I wear my mask to protect him. He washes his hands to protect him. And we all social distance to protect everybody else. Where is the, you put a mask on to protect yourself. You wash your hands to protect yourself. Do you know why? Because if you put a mask on, you're not protecting yourself. You're leaving yourself open to breathing in the bad bacteria over and over and over again. And if you've got anything wrong with you, then you need your head testing. If you've got COPD, heart, anything wrong with you in this area and you're wearing a mask, well really, what planet are you living on? That just doesn't make sense at all. The rest of us have good health. Don't impair your health. You wear your mask, tell your boss, give your boss a handwritten letter if need be, write to your boss saying you cannot wear the mask, and if your boss forces you to wear a mask, you will hold him legally responsible for your health. My daughter teaches in a school. She's the only teacher in that school not wearing a mask. Everybody else is following like zombies. She goes into school. She's told she's got to wear a mask. She said she's not. The staff room, she's over in the corner, except it's Coventry. She touches the kettle, they're wiping the kettle. She's touching the toaster, they're wiping the toaster. She's as infectious as they are, but because she doesn't wear a mask, they're treating her like a germ. This is in school. Worse than that, emergency services. She's in that bubble of school, her daughter's in this bubble. She'd said to the headmistress, if my daughter's school she's sent off because she's infected, can I stay off with her? You know, the answer was no, because you're in this bubble. Does that make sense? They're now like the hospital, the nurses, the doctors, the ambulance drivers, the firemen and police, they've all been exempt from track and trace. I wonder why.
A lot of people don't even realise that there's protests going on all over the world. It's not just here in Manchester. You are not alone as a country. Other countries are fighting back. We need to stand strong and meet here every single week. We want these numbers to grow to hundreds, to thousands. We've got to say, fuck you, Boris, enough is enough.
We're doing this now. We've got to walk through Manchester. We've got to tell people. We've really got to put our heart and our soul in it. We can't just sit there reeling facts off if we're not putting our heart in it. This is people, humans. It's not just about facts and figures. It's about what we're feeling there. And I know for a fact I felt this pain. I felt this pain. I've not slept at night knowing what's coming. Stuff I've researched for the last 20 plus years. And it's happening now. But I want you all to know there is solutions. We can fight back. We can all take back our sovereignty and just say no. But I'd just like to say and all, if anybody wants to bring the kids, we are peaceful, we're just passionate. We are peaceful, we don't want to fight battling people because we won't get us nowhere. We want to wake people up, we want to wake them up. We don't want to fight anymore, we've had enough. This fight's in our head. This is a psychological war, not a physical one. But please then, if people want to bring the kids, feel free to bring the kids.
Bring your children.
Bring your children, because at the end of the day, we're doing it for our kids.
They don't give a shit about us. Notice how the first lockdown was a full extended lockdown. Now they're just fucking with our feelings. Notice how the first lockdown was a full extended lockdown, and now they just keep fucking with our feelings. 10 o'clock curfew, 10 o'clock this, 10 o'clock that. And if you really want to make a change, you have to act on it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. We're here for one specific reason, because we value our freedom. We're here for one very specific reason, because we value our freedom. Freedom is what matters. We've all been conditioned, we've all been lied to believe that there's some kind of flu killing us. There isn't. We've been conditioned to believe that a mask can save you from a flu that's killing you. We've been conditioned to accept and obey a system that we did not agree to. We've been conditioned, or being conditioned, to accept and obey a system that will kill us. We've been conditioned to normalize to being apart. We're being conditioned to accept what we do not want. We have rights, and those rights are being violated. I do not wear a mask. Neither do I. My mother-in-law worked at the hospital. She caught COVID. Do you know what I did? I took my kids and my missus to go see your grandma. Yeah. I did it on purpose. Why? Because it's only a flu. Every day, I don't wear a mask. I just say I'm exempt from the bullshit. My kids are in school. You've got to send home. You want someone call. Something. Alright? So you're going to have to get your son vaccinated. And no! Stay at home for 14 days. Then I'll think about sending him back. Because it's all bullshit. Wearing the mask only shows obedience. It doesn't mean you're smart. It means you're just listening to what you're being told. We're being treated like children. We're not children. The only way we can make a difference is to start sharing what we know. with the people we know. One person can tell 10 people. And we can start sharing it in that manner. But with 3 people, I cannot emphasize enough the word freedom. Because there's been a time I didn't know freedom. I say that honestly. Right now, that freedom has been taken away from me. And it's not very often I speak out like this. And I hate it. I hate going into shops and seeing people wearing masks. But I just have to smile at them and say it's okay. Nice that we've gathered together, but we need to do it more. Not enough of us are doing what we can and should be doing. Let's speak the truth to everybody we know. If you know someone's ill, give them a hug. 8 times if you have to. Like the guy just said, 8 times.
T-State.
Okay?
Let's take media.
Separation.
Yep, media. One
It's
word.
not good.
No, 2
It's divide and conquer. Yeah. Trying to divide us. During the lockdown, I visited everyone I knew. I did that on purpose. Yeah. If you were sick, I swear to God I'm coming to see you. I did it on purpose. When I'm not working, I'm acting. I was on set on Monday. I got a text from the production manager saying, after the costume, you're going to have to take a COVID test. I called my agent. I said, you've got a problem here. They want me to take a COVID test. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think I'm going to be on set today. He said, it's all right. You tell him. And I did. I sent a message back saying, hi George, I do not consent to a COVID test. However, if you want to take my temperature if I walk on set, feel free. Just so he did. I was all right. Do not consent to none of this bullshit. Okay? If you see anyone wearing a mask, just politely tell them that you don't need to. If you see anyone who's scared, because I believe if you wear a mask, it's not because of your health. You're not wearing a mask because you care about your health. You're wearing a mask because you're scared. You've been told that if you don't wear a mask, you're going to get fined. You've been told if you don't wear a mask, your granny's going to catch COVID. You've been told if you don't wear a mask, your kids are going to catch COVID. You've been told if you don't get a mask, you might drop dead. It's a lie. You're going to keep on living. And you're going to keep on breathing. Let's gather together and share the love. There ain't no pandemic. It's a pandemic.